how you're regarded is reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So it's all very good being pleasant to people face to face, but when we step out of the room, what are people saying? Chris is a relatively new member to BNI. She joined since we have been funding charity places since the beginning of July. Every single time that I mention her name or someone else mentions her name around me, there is just a wall of positivity that comes back about Chris. Her passion, her belief in her mission, and how when she walks through the door, she lifts a room. And when you see the subject that she talks about, to have that kind of energy and that kind of dedication, it's 100% right that Chris is our very first member to speak in our Best of the Best series. So, she claims she's nervous, I don't believe it, but can we have a massive green love welcome?
Actually, can you all hear me rather than me doing this? I'll just project a bit more. So, hopefully, there I am. Hi. Right, so, a world. Who here thought that the world is your oyster? Anyone? Is your oyster? You can go and achieve whatever you want. Well, I wanted to change the world with my pain. I wanted to turn it into something meaningful. I wanted to use my speaking and my activism and my campaigning to change this world. Unfortunately, working with the last government and this current government, I've literally had the door shut in my face. So I feel that this world is not attainable at the moment. However, I like to flip things. I thought I would make my world a bit smaller. Just bring it to this room, bring it to one table, and then just one person. And then hopefully you, as a person, will go back to your families, your communities, your network, and share my message. And that way we can send the ripples out into the world. And we will see the change that I want to see. And hopefully you will as well. So I want to touch you enough today for you to actually feel comfortable to have these uncomfortable conversations that we all need to have in order to better protect children and young people that are currently being abused right now. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you I'm talking about abuse. So it just takes one person to make a change for another, okay? I had Arwin's mum that helped me when I was 15, turned my whole world upside down. I came from a council estate, a poor family, 3 dysfunctional domestic abuse households that I grew up in, and I thought I would amount to nothing because I got told that. So I believed that. Why wouldn't you? Until Arwin's mum told me, what do you want to do? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to have a job in a shop. I'm going to live my life. What do you mean, what am I going to do? And she goes, no, you could go to college, you could do this, you could do that. And that was the first time that anyone had said to me that I had options, I had opportunities, and I could break the mould. This lady not only told me that, but she helped me get the forms filled in, get some funding, and I actually attended college from the age of 16 to 18, whilst living on my own in my own bedsit at the age of 16. So it just takes one person. But usually that person needs to be us. We need to turn up for us in our own world. And if we're not doing that currently, if we don't put on our own oxygen masks, we can't help other people in the way that we want to without it coming at a cost to ourselves. So, who here has heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Probably everybody, okay? So it starts with the basics that everybody needs, the foundations, and then it builds up to actually reaching and fulfilling your true potential. If you've come from a household where there's been addiction, where there's been abuse, where there's been a divorce, these are called adverse childhood experiences. And every single one of us in this room have got at least one ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Every single one person has. On average, usually 3 to 4. Mine's 10 out of 10, okay? And I'm not here to brag or say blur, but what I'm saying is that when this study was done, the more ACEs you had, the more long-term health implications you would have, and also you would lose 10 years of your life. So knowing this information, I was able to change the trajectory of my health and my life because I stepped in and changed that. And I do that for others through the charity. Now I'm just going to play you a little animation that I created. So give it 10 out of 10, please. That would be great. All right, and then I'll explain to you afterwards what it was all about. But first of all, I just want to set the scene. I was in an office. There was 3 glass offices here. This is where middle management sat. Outside, where you guys are, this is where the sales force sat, and marketing, sales and marketing. And then at the back there was where the directors' offices were. My office was the middle one. I was a senior management role, and I was a chartered management accountant, and one day I was sitting at my desk doing the month end, the profit and loss, the balance sheet, the cash flow, and I took a phone call. Hopefully this will work. Is it going to work? That was me having a breakdown. The phone call that I took at work was my childminder telling me that she was dropping my child off, my 18-month-old son, outside of my office, and that would have looked really bad for me in that company that I was in. They overworked us, they were bullying me, and I just was not dealing with it very well. I had a child to love and nurture and care for, yet here I was at work full-time with my child in a full-time nursery. I didn't really want that. That was mum guilt going on. So when I got that phone call, and what I haven't told you was my mental health was sliding as well. The day that I had my child was the day that I felt love for the first time, and I knew that I would kill for my children, my child. And then it brought up loads of emotions for me that were deep-rooted and buried. Why was no one there for me? Where was my protection? Where was my love? Where was my care? So that 18 months to 2 years led to this point at work where I had a breakdown in front of the whole sales force. So that spreadsheet was literally all of the numbers coming out of the computer, and they chased me into the room where the sales force was. It was horrific. I didn't know what the hell was going on. However, that was my breakthrough moment, okay? It was a breakdown and it was a horrendous time going through it, but when I look back, that was my actual breakthrough moment. I changed my career. I became a fitness professional because I used to do lots of running as part of my anger management, okay? I run marathons. Can't do that anymore, I've got 2 hip replacements, okay? So I have to look after my hips now. But I changed my career and I found my voice. In 2012, I actually wrote my book. I left BNI Keen, wrote my book, stood up in front of 80 people and shared my truth, which was what I'd been through, its impact, and what I was going to do about it. So you might have heard, often people hurt people, or we hurt ourselves unwittingly. We either implode or we explode, and neither is conducive for long-term health and well-being. But we all have a responsibility to turn up for ourselves and our family and our friends when we can. And that word responsibility is quite heavy. I chop it in half and turn it around. I call it the ability to respond. When we know different, we can do different. We can respond differently. And there's another saying that you might have heard, your health is your wealth. And I know that to my own cost of having that breakdown at work in front of everybody. So, who am I? This is me. I connect, I communicate whatever message is needed, and I make change happen, because I'm not here to muck around. I'm here to make a change. Sorry, I don't mean to scare anybody. Yeah, but I'm 55 now. Time is running out. I'm here to make a change. I'm the founder of Survivors of Abuse, which exists to empower survivors of childhood abuse and address institutional failings. And this is systemic failings. I reported to my school, social services, and the police at the age of 9, at the age of 15, and then at the age of 45. I still didn't get my justice. I went through the criminal court system for 5 years, and I still didn't get my justice. And our mission of the charity is to transform pain into the power through support, advocacy, and the systemic change. And what does this actually mean? This means that we have those uncomfortable conversations and we make them comfortable. This means we hear children and we protect them. We don't dismiss what they've got to say, no matter what. Just in case you don't think that this is an epidemic, these are some facts and figures for you. The Centre of Child Sexual Abuse Expertise, 500,000 children every single year will be sexually abused. And this is fact. Only 1 in 8 children are known to the authorities. 1 in 8 are known to the authorities. So this just shows you the endemic nature of child sexual abuse in particular, let alone the physical and the emotional abuse that goes on. And if you've ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Professor Van der Kolk, you will know that anything that happens to you that causes trauma in the body, it's not only has an impact on your mental but your physical health as well. And I've already shared with you some of the things that I've got, like the 2 hip replacements. I've got complex PTSD, depression and all of that, but that's beside the point. And it's linked to those chronic health conditions later on in life, and it's also linked to a shorter lifespan. If you don't know about it and if you don't make a change, hence why the charity exists, because we try and be that earlier intervention so that people can have a fulfilling life, a healthy life, a peaceful life, one free from trauma. So there's my personal story. Abuse in all its forms, went through the justice system. I've been bulimic, I've got complex PTSD, depression, I was an overworker, an over-exerciser, and over and over and over. So now I'm trying to find balance, okay? And it's hard. And I'm not just one person, and abuse is not over there. It's in many of our families. It's in many of our communities. And it happens in every single institution, every single school, okay? We can't get away from it. We might want to, but we can't. So you might recognise the back of my head here. Holding James cleverly to account. So, that's why SOB was founded, which I've already shared with you. We want to be the go-to nationwide charity for trauma recovery. And the 8-week program that I created is based on mindset, nutrition, fitness and stress management, because they are the 7 pillars of health that we need in order to move forwards with our lives. Individuals who've been harmed from all types of abuse, including domestic violence. So that's the program. Is based on the 7 pillars, and we work on all of those areas. And like I said to you right at the beginning, it just takes one person to have a ripple effect. Each of these areas has a ripple effect into the other, okay? So it doesn't matter where the individual decides to start their work on themselves, it will have a positive impact on all areas. Now, I just wanted to show you my advocacy work. So I wrote my book in 2012. I was a member of the Victim and Survivors Consultative Panel between 2015 and 2022. That's the largest inquiry in the world. That went on for 7.5 years. That was part of my life for that long. It cost £186 million, and yet we still haven't seen one recommendation implemented. So for the last 3 years, I've been literally working for nothing, fighting the government to get those recommendations implemented. So that's Sarah Champion MP, if anyone doesn't know who she is. And there's some of my advocacy work and some of the TV programmes that I've been on. Just to show you, I'm not just about the charity and healing, even though that's a big part. I'm also about trying to change everything for our children and young people today, because it's so important. This is a letter I got from Theresa May, who set up the inquiry. She read my book. Okay. And my brothers wrote a chapter each in that book as well, and so did my sister. And that was basically thanking me for giving her the insight that she needed to know why the inquiry was so important. And then I've worked with these ladies as well. Loads of home sex. I don't want to look at or meet another Home Secretary unless they're really sure that they can actually do something, because it's just a waste of time. So what can you do to help us? Well, what can you do to help yourselves, really? You need to be there for yourself. So think of a young child in your own life. What would you do for them? You love them, you care for them, you nurture them, you would protect them to the nth degree. I know you would, because you're caring adults. But what about the children that don't have that adult in their lives? What about that child that is currently being abused and they've got no one to talk to, no one to protect them, no one to stick up for them? And just think for a moment, if you had a child and young person come up to you and they said something to you fleetingly and you didn't pick up upon it, or you went, no, that didn't happen, that couldn't happen, because I know that person's fine, they're a good guy, they're a good girl, a good woman, a good man, whatever. You have to believe the child, because you could be that one person that could save them from a whole lifetime of heartache. So, have the conversations and challenge the societal stigmas around all forms of abuse. We need the 3 of 4 of you to support the 1 in 4 that they say this affects. It's more than that, I know it's more than that. In each and every school classroom of 30 children, there'd be 3 or 4 in there who are being currently sexually abused, and often before the age of 4 or 5. Sorry, it's just fact. So, what can you do to help spread the word? Have these conversations. Take my leaflets that Claire designed for me, and Sam. Take the business cards, pass them on to people in your network who may be able to help and support. I joined BNI, Greg, and I told you this in our meeting, because I want to raise £75,000 for the charity. The reason being, I'm the only facilitator at the moment. I don't want to be the only facilitator. I want to make sure that this 8-week course is taken nationwide and delivered to as many individuals who have been harmed as possible. That is my goal. That is why I'm here. That's why I give up every Wednesday morning and every day to talk about this and spread the word. So if anyone knows a rich person, a philanthropist, someone who wants to get behind the cause, get behind me, just introduce me and I will convince them and convert them. You don't need to do that heavy lifting. I can do that. So, the world that we started with, just be the world you want to be, you want to see, and you want to be in. Yeah? That's all I'm asking. But do it for yourself. Put your own oxygen mask on first, and then you can help those around you. Yeah, that's me. Thank you. If anyone wants to read the report from ICSO, it's here for you. Yeah?
Really good. Good first one? Really, really good.